The live streaming is now commenced.
Thank you. Good evening, councillors, officers, and our viewers live streaming tonight's meeting. My name is Councillor Lena Messina, and I'm the Mayor of Darebin City Council and the chairperson of tonight's special meeting. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to tonight's council meeting. We have only one item. This special council meeting is to consider one item, and that's the appointment to the CEO Employment Matters Committee. This is the only business to be considered during this special council meeting, unless all councillors are present and unanimously agree to another matter. I declare this meeting open at 6:06 p.m. Darebin City Council acknowledges the Wurundjeri Wurrung people as the traditional owners and custodians of the land and waters we now call Darebin, and pays respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. Council pays respects to all other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities in Darebin. Darebin recognises and pays tribute to the diverse culture, resilience and heritage of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. We acknowledge the leadership of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities and their right to self-determination in the spirit of mutual understanding and respect. This meeting is being held virtually pursuant to the provisions of the Section 395 of the Local Government Act 2020. Should technical difficulties be encountered by the council, the meeting may be adjourned until these are resolved with a maximum of 30 minutes. And if we cannot resolve the problem, we will reschedule the meeting. In such circumstances, an advice message will be shown on the screen. This meeting is being held live streamed via a link on council website, so the public will be able to view the proceedings of the meeting. This meeting is also being recorded and will be made available on the council website as soon as practical after the meeting. There are a few housekeeping matters and technical tips for councillors that I know that you have all heard many times before, but I need to pass them on. Please leave your video on and mute your sound unless you wish to speak. If you wish to electronically raise your hands, hover the participants button in the main video window and then pass the small hand symbol in the right-hand corner. Please use this if you wish to ask questions or leave the meeting, so I'm aware of this. You can also raise your hand over the front section of where you're situated, where you're seated, so I can see that you need my attention. Note that there is no chat facility available during the meeting for councillors or general viewers. At Darebin, we pride ourselves on being a progressive and contemporary council. In the interest of leadership, I have high expectations that we'll be professional in our conduct and the language we use throughout the evening. I remind councillors tonight that the chamber, virtually or in person, is both a workplace and a public space, and we have an obligation to ensure that the working environment and public forums are safe for everybody, both emotionally and physically. What I would like to do now is move on to the agenda. If you've got any questions, I ask that you direct them through to me as the chair. Membership, I'd like to introduce councillors in attendance tonight. We have Councillor Trent McCarthy, the Deputy Mayor.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening. Councillor Emily Dimitriadis.
Good evening, Mayor and everyone.
Councillor Dimitriadis, your volume's on very low.
You don't know why. Is that better?
No.
Oh, one sec. Sorry. I'll be a minute.
Oh, that's better. That's better, Councillor Dimitriadis. Thank you. Councillor Gaetano Greco.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, everyone else.
Good evening. Councillor Tom Hannon.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Councillor Tim Lawrence.
Good evening, Mayor, and good evening to everyone.
Good evening. Councillor Suzanne Newton.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening. Councillor Susan Rennie.
Good evening.
Good evening. Councillor Julie Williams.
Good evening, everyone.
Oh, I hope you're feeling much better than what you're sounding, Councillor Williams, but thank you for your presence this evening. And officers in attending this evening, Jodie Watson, General Manager, Governance and Engagement, Jacinta Stevens, Manager, Corporate Governance, Stephen Mann, Coordinator of Council Business, Georgina Steele and Rebecca Palpoulis, virtual meeting hosts, Rachna Singh, who's a Senior Council Business Officer, and Michelle Martin, who's the Council Business Officer. And in addition, I see that David Lee, the officer in the IT area, is also there for any assistance. Can I also welcome Mr. John Watson, the Municipal Monitor? Thank you, councillors and officers. We're on the way. Item number 3, there are no apologies as listed. Item number 3 further, disclosures of conflicts of interest. Are there any disclosures to declare, councillors and officers? Nil noted. Thank you. Item number 4, councillors due to notice of the meeting, councillors due to the urgent and extraordinary circumstances associated with the need for council to consider this matter, the council has not fully complied with its governance rule, specifically clause 1.123, regarding giving the at least 7 days public notice in this meeting. These urgent and extraordinary circumstances relate to the importance of council formally considering the appointment of Councillor Suzanne Newton to the CEO Employment Matters Committee, given the impending meeting and deliberations of this advisory committee. Pursuant to the council's governance rules, council is given as much notice as was practical during the notification on its website at www.darebin.vic.gov.au. Pursuant to council's governance rule, this explanation will be recorded in the minutes of this meeting. The item that we have, the report we have to consider this evening is item number 5.1, appointment to the CEO Employment Matters Committee. Councillors, are there any questions to the officers? There are none. Oh, Councillor, sorry, JD Watson, Ms. Watson.
Thank you, Mayor Messina. I would like to advise an error contained in the attachment to council. Whilst that's provided for reference and not for decision tonight, I would like to note, councillors, and council, that there is a change to be made to that attachment. It is point 2 in the section regarding the composition of the committee. And just to confirm that point 2 requires to be deleted. Point 2 states, following confirmation of appointment of the CEO, the committee will be constituted by an independent chairperson, the mayor and 3 councillors, Councillors Hannan, McCarthy and Rennie. That line will need to be removed and that administrative change will be made accordingly.
Thank you. Can I ask that be on the screen? Has that been prepared for councillors to view on the screen?
What I might advise through you, Mayor Messina, is that that administrative change has been circulated to councillors and will form part of the minutes of tonight's meeting for public transparency.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillors, do I have a mover, or do we have any further questions or any additional questions based on that statement? No. Do I have a motion, councillors? Okay, Councillor Lawrence. And seconder, I think I saw Councillor McCarthy. Thank you. Councillor Lawrence, as the mover, would you like to speak to the motion? We can't hear you, Councillor Lawrence. You're on mute. Apologies.
Yeah, sorry. Just briefly, Madam Mayor, this issue of representation on the CEO Performance Committee has been into the chamber and the council and debated in the community quite a lot. So I think it's this special meeting is important that all representatives of all residents are on the committee, and this motion fixes that situation.
Thank you, Councillor Lawrence. Councillor McCarthy.
Thanks, Mayor. Look, I just support Councillor Newton's appointment to the committee, and also thank you and thank our officers for making the time to make that possible for Councillor Newton to be part of that decision-making process. I think it's I'd support Councillor Lawrence's comments. It's really important decision-making that we're involved in, and thank Councillor Newton for her participation in the process to date as well.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? Councillor Greco.
Thank you, Mayor Messina. I'm sorry that I just blanked out for a minute because I lost a disconnection. I've just come back on, and yeah, I just like to make a few comments in relation to the motion. I missed out. I assume that the recommendation, as per the report is what's been moved and seconded. Is that right?
Yeah, there was an error and there was a slight error and a correction, which I believe all councillors.
Yeah, I heard that part.
Yep, that's correct. Then it was moved by Councillor Lawrence and seconded by Councillor McCarthy, and they've both spoken to it. So, okay. Councillor Greco.
Okay, great. Yeah, just a few words. Look, I'm happy to see that that Councillor Suzanne Newton has wants to be part of the CEO Employment Matters Committee. I think it's really important that all councillors are on that committee, and as it's been publicly known, we're going through a recruitment process for a new CEO, and so far the process has been quite constructive and quite robust, and I think it's really important that all eight councillors plus the mayor are on that committee in order to make the deliberations and then to have a full discussion in relation to how we move forward in regards to recruiting a new CEO. So I really welcome that, something that I've been advocating for some time, that the committee is made up of all councillors, and I think this final step, and I thank Councillor Suzanne Newton for expressing her desire to come back to be part of the committee, and like that we can all collectively be part of that recommendation process. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Greco. Are there any further speakers? Councillor Dimitriadis.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm glad to see Councillor Newton expressing an interest in joining the committee for the recruitment of the CEO. I, along with some of the other councillors, have long argued and pushed for every councillor to have the opportunity to be on the CEO Employment Matters Committee, a view that wasn't shared by many of my colleagues. It was a shame in April that Councillor Newton did not accept the offer to join the committee and voted against expanding the committee to have all 9 councillors as part of the important role of recruiting a CEO. And that's the only person councillors employ. So I believe that was very important. That wasn't supported. While the framework that was developed by the mayor was more inclusive than the initial proposal, I felt it was not inclusive enough to replace membership of the committee, as it placed the power to vote for the committee recommendation solely in the hands of the committee members and relegated all other councillors to observe who can express a view. So in my view, Councillor Newton changing her mind to join the committee shows that concerns with the limitations of the framework were justified. In April, those who voted for the resolution made it clear that Councillor Newton was able to change her mind in the recruitment process, and I welcome her change of mind and I'm happy to support this motion tonight. I would also like to note that previously Councillor Newton and Councillor Hannard, who voted against including all councillors who wanted to be on the committee to recruit the CEO, also voted against extending the invitation to Councillor Newton to join. And Councillor Rennie abstained from this decision in April. In fact, Councillor Rennie spoke against including all councillors on the committee. I now hope that Councillor Rennie and Councillor Hannan, along with all the other councillors, will support this motion for the inclusion of all councillors on the committee to recruit the CEO. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dimitriadis. Are there any further speakers? I'll put that item to the vote. All those in favour? I just want to make sure I can see all the hands. Thank you, councillors. That's been carried unanimously. Thank you very much for your participation tonight. And I look forward to the ongoing communication and the ongoing CEO Employment Matters Committee. As there are no item, Councillor Rennie, apologies.
I think she's frozen.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Can I have some governance? Councillor Rennie, you're back.
Yes, just please, if that happens again, finish the meeting. Do not wait for me to come back.
Oh, I know. I wanted some governance advice at what would happen.
Please do not wait for me to come back to close the meeting.
I thought you had a question. No, anyway, as there's no other items of business to consider this evening, I would like to declare the meeting finished at 6:20 p.m. Thank you very much for your attendance this evening, councillors. Councillor Williams, I hope you recover from that hoarse voice. We'll see you on Monday night. Good evening, everybody, and have a great night and great weekend. See you later.
Thanks, Mayor.
Bye, everyone.
Oh, okay.